To keep boys out of girls' sports, they secured deals with universities to stop race-based admissions and anti-Semitic practices. And after discovering rampant fraud in Minnesota, the Justice Department, under the leadership of Attorney General Bondi, has established a new national fraud division. In fact, I met with Colin McDonald, who will head that division last week. I think he's going to do a great job. There's a lot of work to be done in that area, but I want to thank the Attorney General for her great work in the first year on the job, and I want to thank you for being here. With that, I would yield to the ranking member for an opening statement.
Guys, welcome to the live show. It's Rep America Live. You can join the chat on YouTube, and we're going to go through a few things here, going through some hearings. These are live hearings that are happening currently as we speak, and they're involving Pam Bondi, the Epstein files, the DOJ, and all that kind of stuff. So put your seatbelts on, and we're going to have a good time here. So welcome to the live stream.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, Attorney General Bondi. You've got the best lawyer's job in America because your mission is justice and your clients are the American people. But to promote justice for the people, you've got to listen to the victims, like the women seated behind you today. Those are just some of the hundreds of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's global sex trafficking ring who are demanding that the truth be told and are demanding accountability for the abusers who trafficked and raped them. You still haven't met with these survivors. So with their permission, let me introduce to you the survivors and late survivors' family members who are present today. There's Teresa Helm, there's Jess Michaels, Laura Bloom McGee, Danny Bensky, Liz Stein, Marina Lacerda, Sky and Amanda Roberts, who are the family of the late Virginia Giuffre, Charlene Richard, and Lisa Phillips. Now, you're not showing a lot of interest in the victims, Madam Attorney General, whether it's Epstein's human trafficking ring.
He's talking about Pam Bondi not showing interest in the victims. Well, isn't it the Democrats and liberals and the left lunatics that have been running around yelling about Donald Trump and Epstein files? And this whole time they've been yelling about Donald Trump and the Epstein files. And then when they found out Donald Trump is the one that actually was calling out Epstein and is not part of what Epstein was doing, they stopped all of a sudden. They don't care about Epstein files?
Or the homicidal governmental violence against citizens in Minneapolis. As Attorney General, you're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring.
The left was infatuated with the Epstein files because they wanted to see just one thing in the Epstein files, just one name in the Epstein files. They wanted to see Donald Trump, and that's it.
Bring the victims. That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein.
Why is my video
cover-up right out of the Department of Justice? You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein files.
Hang on, is my video glitching? It is, isn't it? Why is it slow like that? There should be no reason for that.
But you've turned over only 3 million. You say you're not turning over the other 3 million because they're somehow duplicative, but we know that there are actual memos of victim statements in there. And you also took down the Department of Justice's prosecution memo from 2019. So it's clearly not.
Good point. Lone Wolf says, why aren't Democrats talking about the fact that Democrat National Committee refused to return $32,000 in donations from Epstein? That's a great point, actually. Democrats, I didn't know about that. He says, Democrats cared so much about the victims of Epstein, they didn't do that for the victims from 2020 to 2024. Exactly.
Not all duplicative.
They did nothing from 2020 to 4 years straight. We didn't hear a single word about Epstein. Soon as Donald Trump becomes president, everyone's screaming Epstein.
But even if it were, why not release it? Just release all the duplicative stuff. In the half you did produce, you redacted the names of abusers, enablers, accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names. which is what you were ordered to do by Congress. Some of the victims had come forward publicly, but many had not. Many had.
And what's this guy doing with his Christmas tie? Does he know it's not Christmas yet anymore? It's Christmas is over, bro. What's up with your Christmas cane tie? Lady Manisha says, "What's happening? Epstein being dead. Epstein. They're talking about Epstein. I don't know what's going on. We're gonna find out."
Kept their torment private, even from family and friends, but you published their names, their identities, their images on thousands of pages for the world to see. So you ignored the law, and even with over 100,000 employees at your disposal, you acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims raped, abused, and trafficked. This performance screams cover up. Convicted sex trafficker and groomer Ghislaine Maxwell opened the gates of hell to Virginia Giuffre and hundreds of other victims, as Virginia recorded in her remarkable book, Nobody's Girl. But when Maxwell was subpoenaed to come testify before Congress, you and Todd Blanche quickly moved her from a higher security prison to a minimum security camp in Texas, where she's enjoyed 5-star treatment, including catered meals, private gym time, and access to a therapy puppy. All because Todd Blanche, who's utterly failed to investigate the monstrous crimes of Epstein and Maxwell's co-conspirators, spent 9 hours with Maxwell and satisfied himself that she would have nothing untoward to say about Donald Trump, which is your only real interest in the matter, based on institutional performance. But abandoning victims and coddling perpetrators is what you do best. When the FBI opened a criminal investigation into the brutal killing in Minneapolis of Renee Good, a poet and 37-year-old mother of 3, by Trump's masked paramilitary ICE agents, you shut it down. You claim you're investigating the cold-blooded murder of Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse at the VA. But how can we trust the administration when the president and Kristi Noem call Preddy a domestic terrorist and Stephen Miller called him a would-be assassin? Not only do you refuse to share evidence with the state and local investigators and prosecutors in Minnesota, you have blocked their access to the crime scene and the evidence. How are you seeking justice for...
Oh, shoot. Specky in Instagram says that, he says, "I'm quite disappointed in my left extreme friend because quite literally he said, aw, because Charlie Kirk was not in the files. I had to literally tell him that they should be happy that he did not participate in such horrendous things." Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And then the lady says, "They constantly talking about Epstein, absent. What? I don't know what that means."
Marimar Martinez, the Montessori school teacher in Chicago who was...
Random, what's up, buddy? We missed you on the live on Monday, but I know that your Mondays are typically busy, but good to have you back, bro. Did you get your hat?
Was shot 5 times
Hats.
by a Border Patrol agent who bragged about it on text. Or the family of Keith Porter, a father of 2, shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent in LA. Or the family of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, shot and...
Awesome, bro. I was wondering. I was just double checking to make sure they got to you. Glad you got him, bro. Love you, man.
Killed in Illinois minutes after he dropped his kids off at school. There's no sign of any movement at the Department of Justice.
Awesome, bro. Hey, and can I ask you about the hats? Were they... Oh, you posted on Discord. Oh, shoot. I got to check it out. Okay. I'm just curious. The quality that I kept talking about on the hats, are they not amazing? What do you think? Are they as good as what I said?
You even launched a criminal investigation into Renee Good's grieving widow. How sick is that? But it's even worse. You've turned the People's Department of Justice into Trump's...
Did he just talk about Renee Good's widow? Is that what he just said right now? Wait a minute. Let me go back. Let's see. Listen to this.
Into Renee Good's grieving widow. How sick is that? A crime of any movement at the Department of Justice. You even launched a criminal investigation into Renee Good's grieving widow. How sick is that?
That's not sick. That's what you're supposed to do. That's her job, literally, is to investigate what the hell is going on. That's what you expect from someone that does what she does, is to investigate. Yeah. So, it's just crazy. And here's the other thing. People don't realize this about Renee Good. Okay, Renee Good, that was shot, she was such a horrible person that literally a judge gave custody of her children, full 100% custody of her children, to the father of her children. So imagine what kind of a person, in America, it's very, very, very unlikely that a judge grants 100% custody to the children, to the father. That's not common, very rare in America, not in Iran. In America, it's very rare. And for a judge to give 100% custody of Renee Good's children to the father of the children speaks a lot about Renee Good. And she moved to Canada, from what we're told, because she was so mad about Donald Trump being president. Then she decided to come down to Minnesota for a little, I guess for like I don't know if it was for the day or for, I don't know, the month. And well, she ended up marrying a woman. So after she had a man, after she was with a man, had children with the men, and was such a horrible person, the judge granted the father of the children 100% custody. Renee Good then goes to Canada because she's mad at Donald Trump being president. Then she ends up marrying a woman. So she flips and becomes lesbian, or as Jesse Lee Peterson will say, lesbian. And then she goes to Minnesota and wants to be some kind of what do you call these warriors? Freedom fighting warrior or something. I don't know what she thought she was, some vigilante, and decides to go against law enforcement. And now this guy is mad because we're investigating her wife that she recently married that got her into even more trouble than she was already in her life. What a joke these Democrats are, bro. Holy cow.
But it's even worse. You've turned the People's Department of Justice into Trump's instrument of revenge. Trump orders up prosecutions like pizza, and you deliver every...
Oh, dude, Random called it. Random says the father was given full custody to the children, of the children, because she kept getting arrested for drugs. Guys, come on. Dude, what are we doing? Wow. She had been arrested multiple times before she went to Canada. She was a paid protester. So was Preddy. All of them were all over Signal Coordinate. Dude. So do you like so the hats were good, huh? He said post on deck. I could tell they were good. Average hat I have to set the snaps to 2. These hats I have to set to like 5. Super nice hats. Awesome, bro. Glad you liked them, man. Glad that worked out.
Every
Awesome,
time.
awesome.
He tells you to go after James Comey, Letitia James, Lisa Cook, and Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve Board, and members of Congress like Adam Schiff.
They should go after all of you. Probably you too, bro. Probably you too with your Christmas tie. Let's go, bro. Let's investigate you too.
Alyssa Slotkin, Chrissy Houlihan, Jason Crow, Chris DeLuzio, and Maggie Goodlander, to name a few, and you snap to it. You replace real prosecutors with counterfeit stooges who robotically do the president's bidding. Nothing.
No, you guys were the ones running around doing all the worst things imaginable while Biden, aka Zombie, was the president. And now you want to open your mouth and talk about what's happening to you? Doesn't feel very good, does it?
Nothing in American history comes close to this complete corruption of the justice function and contamination of federal law enforcement. And the good news is many serious lawyers at DOJ, including some of your own original appointees, have refused your lawless orders. Danielle Sassoon, your original pick for acting U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, resigned.
They still are, bro. They're still running around going nuts. They've lost it.
rather than follow your corrupt order to quash an indictment against Mayor Eric Adams as a political favor from Donald Trump. A Federalist Society member who clerked for Justice Scalia, U.S. Attorney Sassoon refused to participate in this blatantly corrupt scheme. Her top assistant, Hagan Scott.
Yeah, McColston is right. I think that's what it is. SC. Everything they accuse us of, they are actually doing. They literally are. What's the word we were saying? Random. You remember what we were saying? It was projection, right? They were projecting. Projection through, what was it? Through confession? No, what was it?
Gotten, an Iraqi war vet and two-time Bronze Star recipient who clerked for Chief Justice Roberts, and then Judge Kavanaugh promptly resigned too, writing to your office, quote, "I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion, but it was never going to be me." You and the president nominated Eric Siebert, a 15-year career prosecutor, to be your U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. But after 5 months of investigating Letitia James and James Comey, he found no evidence to justify criminal charges. So you forced him out. You replaced him with Lindsay Halligan, Trump's personal lawyer from the Mar-a-Lago documents case, who had zero prosecutorial experience and no qualifications. And then you were humiliated when a federal judge found that this corrupt appointment was blatantly unlawful and threw out Halligan's indictments entirely. And grand juries of American citizens have repeatedly rejected your vendettas and baseless indictments brought by the hacks left at DOJ now, with 2 different grand juries in Virginia voting down indictments against Letitia James in a single week. And just yesterday, another grand jury shut down your vendetta factory by rejecting indictments against the 6 members of justice.
Let's get moving.
And I want to make one here 20.
Let's see what she says here.
I was sworn into office as an important topic of to answer Medi. Thank you, Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Raskin, and distinguished members of this committee. Thank you for hosting me here today. I'm grateful for the opportunity to answer your questions, highlight the work of our department, and discuss the most important topic of all, keeping the American people safe. A little over a year ago, I was sworn into office as the 87th Attorney.
It's a crazy idea, right? Keeping American people safe. That's a wild, crazy, wacky idea. To keep America safe.
Attorney General of the
Who would have thought of such, wow, what a genius. Wow.
United States. I came into office with the goal of refocusing the Department of Justice on its core mission after years of bloated bureaucracy and political weaponization. The Department of Justice's core mission is to fight violent crime, protect the American people, and defend the rule of law above all else. While our work is never done, we have made tremendous progress to make America safe again. In 2025, we saw the lowest murder rate in 125 years. That's nothing short of historic.
Guys, that's pretty wild. Lowest murder rate in 125 years. That's pretty wild.
If you compare 25 to 24, here's what
I'm guessing DC is a major part of that cleanup, part of those numbers, right?
you'll find. The murder rate is down 21%, robbery down 23%, carjacking down 43%, gun assault down 22%, ag assault, burglary, could go on and on. Crime is declining. This did not happen by accident. The numbers tell an important yet straightforward story. President Trump has given us the resources, the support, and the leadership to protect the American people. President Trump's policies have saved lives. I cannot think of a policy outcome more important than protecting the lives of American citizens. Can you? This trend has been especially clear in Washington, D.C. and in Memphis. These are 2 iconic American cities that spent years in the grip of horrific violent crime. The Department of Justice surged law enforcement resources, and the results came quickly. Crime plummeted in both cities, And I want to make one point loud and clear. We achieved those results by working with Democratic mayors. Public safety does not have a party registration. When your constituents call 911, they don't ask for political views of the responding officer. They ask for help. I have federal agents in each and every one of your districts. They're here to help, and I am here to help. Many cities and states have worked with us and taken advantage of our federal support. Some have not. Meanwhile, a few elected officials have declared that they are, quote, at war with the federal government and encouraged widespread obstruction of law enforcement.
Yeah, this widespread obstruction of law enforcement is going to be a big one, and I think some people will go down for that because they're helping orchestrate, basically what she just said. And so that's, I think, will be a specific point that they're going to nail some people on. And then I see white collars saying Letitia James and Adam Schiff must be jailed. I think there's quite a few more as well. I think we need to figure out what's happening with Ilhan Omar sooner than later. And I don't want her to be jailed or anything like that. I'd rather see her deported and gone.
This has resulted in avoidable clashes on the streets, as you've all seen. We've seen rioters storming a Christian church. Citizens and law enforcement officers.
Bro, imagine if someone stormed a Muslim mosque. Imagine that. Imagine how everyone would lose it if they did that to a mosque. These guys go and rush a freaking church, Christian church, and Don Lemon wants to run around acting like he's the victim. Imagine if someone did that to a mosque. They would lose it.
Have both been endangered by reckless rhetoric. We have made dozens of arrests in and around Minneapolis so far, and many of them could have been avoided by simple compliance with federal law. Of course, our efforts reach beyond our urban centers. We are striking crucial blows against terrorist organizations such as MS-13, TDA, the Sinaloa cartel, and Antifa. And as we sit here, I think you've seen the news this morning. The news is reporting that
What do you mean? Oh no, it's happening. What's happening? Imagine you're talking about the mosques? No, not. I haven't seen that, bro. You tell me where that's happening.
cartel drones are being shot down by our military. That's what we all should care about right now, protecting America. As we seek to dismantle these drug trafficking networks.
Do you think the money is still somewhere where they can seize it, though? You guys are saying that they should seize the accounts and take the money, but isn't that money gone somewhere else and probably already spent somehow?
That poison Americans. In 2025, our DEA agents seized more than 47 million fentanyl pills and more than 9,800 total kilos of fentanyl. That represents 369 million potentially deadly doses that can kill Americans. Meanwhile, our attorneys are fighting for President Trump's agenda in courtrooms across this country. This administration has been sued 627 times.
Exactly, bro. These guys are complaining about the same thing that they've been doing to Donald Trump all this time. So the money, yeah, I think the money has gone overseas, a lot of it, but random's right, depends on the person. There are a lot of people that still have that money or have probably already spent the money somewhere, but we need to get down to the bottom of that stuff quick, bro.
We've fought through a nonstop flood of bad faith temporary restraining orders from liberal activist judges across this country. America has never seen this level of coordinated judicial opposition towards a presidential administration. It is not only an unlawful attack on the executive branch's authority, but a serious attack on the democratic process. In spite of this unprecedented judicial activism, we've attained 20.
Bro, are you serious? This person, John Tech, says, I live in North Linden in Columbus. Half the shops have Arabic lettering and signs, and a lot of them say Buckeyes on them for OSU, and only sell formal Muslim clothing. What the hell? I'd love to see what those look like. I'm going to do a search. Linden, Columbus?
24 favorable rulings at the U.S. Supreme Court, their emergency docket, and even more to come. We've done so while ending the weaponization of the prior administration by dropping FACE Act prosecutions, exposing the Arctic frost scandal via congressional disclosure, thank you, Chairman, and restoring one tier of justice in this country. To address the Epstein files, more than 500 attorneys and reviewers spent thousands of hours painstakingly reviewing millions of pages to comply with Congress's law. We've released more than 3 million pages, including 180,000 images, all to the public, while doing our very best in the time frame allotted by the legislation to protect victims. And if you brought us a victim's name that was inadvertently released, we immediately...
Wait a minute. What is this person saying right now? They stormed a church because they were expressing their First Amendment against ICE agent preacher, but you don't believe in the Constitution, separation of church and state. What are you talking about? Amendment, ICE agent preacher, what?
Redacted it. All
I'm
members
confused.
of Congress, as you know, are in...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Random. Church is private property. You can't go protest, break into a building and do that. That's a felony, bro, by the way. You can't break into a building and commit that kind of... The doors are closed. That's a church. Even if doors are open, you can't go do that in a church. And plus, there are additional things that involve churches specifically. But never mind that. You can't go in. Matt, can you go into someone's home and do that? Can you go inside someone's store and do that? No. And specifically, not a church. Wake up, guys.
Invited to visit DOJ to see for yourselves. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the Epstein survivors who are here today. I'm a career prosecutor, and despite what the ranking member said, I have spent my entire career fighting for victims, and I will continue to do so. I am deeply sorry for what any victim has.
Yeah, we're all sorry for all the victims of the Epstein files, and we would have loved to, get more involved and do all this kind of stuff and really help out the victims and get to know who they are. But the Democrats ruined this whole thing. They really destroyed this whole thing because they made this all about Trump. That's the problem. You guys made it all about Trump. And you guys literally took something that was, something where everyone should come together and feel the same way about it. And we all do, we do on the right. But then you guys made it all about Trump. And it turns out Trump was one of the only guys calling him out. What a joke. It's like some kind of a sick joke.
Has been through, especially as a result of that monster. If you have any information to share with law enforcement about anyone who has hurt you or abused you, the FBI is waiting to hear from you. I want you to know that any accusations of criminal wrongdoing will be taken seriously and investigated. The Department of Justice is committed to holding criminals accountable to the fullest extent of the law. In 2025, the FBI arrested over 1,700 child predators, a 10% increase from 2024. We also located 2,700 victims of child exploitation and shut down 3.8 million dark web pedophile accounts. 3.8 million. So please, if you have information to share that needs to be investigated, contact the FBI. Today, I look forward to discussing further our shared obligation.
Yes, but today is going to be a big show. They're going to just yell at her. Here we go. Let's get. Should we jump in? Should we jump in and get started? Here, let's get started, bro. Let's go.
People.
Thank you for your extensive remarks, particularly on your continued investigation of those responsible over the years in the Epstein debacle. Obviously, you have an amazingly full docket between civil rights, between criminal, between so-called white-collar crime, and doing so, as the chairman said, at a time in which both you and the president are under attack, and our ICE agents and FBI and others are under attack when they try to enforce the law. I personally want to apologize for those who would embolden, support, or even stand with those lawbreakers that sit on this and other daises here in Congress. My job generally is to talk about patents and trademarks as the chairman of that subcommittee. I'll forego that today because one of my other jobs is the creation and maintenance of Article 3 judges, and I work with the Chief Justice on that, and we're trying to expand the court. But currently, there are only 677 district court judges. They have very full dockets as well. But you create a tremendous amount of judges, particularly immigration.
Blue tie guy had a bunch of coffee and he wasn't able to go to the bathroom before this whole thing started. He's stuck there, bro.
Judges. You do so in order to save the court that, but adjudicate, as is requirement, each of those people who claim a right to be here in the United States. And that has been going on under Republican and Democratic administrations for years. What's unique about the Trump
Javid Shah
administration this time is that you and President Trump have managed to reduce the backlog of people seeking that for the first time in decades. You are getting ahead of that tremendous backlog that caused, for better or worse, the release of millions of people with little pieces of paper saying, come back later when we call you, and often to no avail when you call. So I want to congratulate you on that because it's an accomplishment you might not take credit for and the other side would never give you credit for. But I hope.
Let's jump right into the part where they go nuts because this is the beginning. He's the first guy. He's kind of helping her out right now and to ease it up, and then we're going to go. But I'm going to say to the people on Instagram talking about Iran, Magba Khamenei, Magba Jomhuriya Islami.
Hope you can continue.
And Javid Shah, Payande Iran, dude.
To do that and do more. And I say of other badly want to cooperate and that make you.
Let's go right into this, dude. Let's go. Let's get right into this, bro. Come on. Let's go. These guys are going to go nuts. Now,
this horrific sex trafficking ring.
Oh, dude, this
Thank
lady
you, Mr.
I
Chairman.
cannot stand.
Good morning.
This is one of the ladies that we got to get rid of, bro. Who voted this lady in, by the way? Let me take my jacket off because I'm already getting hot.
Attorney General Bondi, right here. We are joined in this room by some of the thousands of survivors from Jeffrey Epstein's horrific sex trafficking ring. They have shown such incredible courage in speaking out, in demanding accountability to bring the predators and pedophiles to justice. The Epstein Files Transparency Act required your Department of Justice to disclose the perpetrators connected with Epstein's criminal activities and to redact the information of survivors to protect their identities. Let me show you what actually happened. First, in violation of the law, your department has shown a pattern of redacting the names of powerful predators. Here behind me is one example of an email from Epstein to a man whose name was redacted. The email reads, quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." Only after members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files did the world learn the name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivors were not similarly protected, also in violation of the law. Here is another.
Is she going to end up getting herself in trouble for lying and basically making shit up? Because what she just said is I mean, I don't know if she's able to. I mean, she probably already knows what she's allowed to say. She probably can say that.
Another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but your Department of Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name redacted, along with numerous files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the
Stabby is back. What's up, Stabby? And Gotcha, bro, you're exactly right, dude. Gotcha says, how long before she starts talking shit about Donald Trump and throwing Epstein? That's exactly what I just said at the very beginning. The Democrats, the leftists, liberals, whatever you want to call yourself, none of them actually care about the victims of Epstein. All they care about is Donald Trump. That's it. They don't care about anything else, just Donald Trump. Yet they want to talk about they want to make this big show about the victims and all this stuff when they themselves never once cared about the victims. That's why they ruined this whole thing about the Epstein files. This should be bipartisan, but they ruined it. They made it only about one man, and that one man played them because he is the one man that was stopping Epstein, in the way of Jeffrey Epstein, called out Jeffrey Epstein, worked with law enforcement to get at Jeffrey Epstein. Wow.
Identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time that they were trafficked by Epstein. In their words, quote, "This release does not provide closure. It feels like a deliberate attempt to intimidate survivors, punish those who came forward, and reinforce the same culture of secrecy that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue for decades." To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
Sean brings up a great point. He says, how the hell does your family just now find out you're a survivor?
Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release?
Unacceptable release of the files. They've been begging for the files to be released, and the only administration that releases the files, they are grilling for releasing the files that they begged them to release. This is the weirdest thing. We're the dumbest idiots on the planet. Look at us. Look at us Americans acting like morons right now.
Of the Epstein files and their information.
Utter disgrace. Look at her face. Look at her face right now. She needs to go. We need to send her to Palestine, bro. We need to. We need to send her to like. Just, I think to save us money, put her on a plane, send her back to Somalia with Elon. Just round them up together. Deport them, dude.
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General
Twice.
Bondi.
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because
I have an idea what she's about to say.
I asked you a
Attorney General,
specific question
Attorney General
that
can
I would
respond to your
like
question.
you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, damn, the chairman is putting it down, bro. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Come on.
Because she
It
doesn't
is
like the
my
answer.
time.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't
a
she ask
question.
Merrick Garland this
I am
twice
reclaiming
when he
my
sat in
time.
Great question. Why didn't she ask Merrick Garland? The same thing we all say. You had the office of the presidency. You guys had everything you wanted from 2020 till 2024 for 4 years in a row. You did nothing about the Epstein files. Where is this energy? Where was this energy those 4 years?
And when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it
Mr.
is
Chairman, the
my
gentlelady has
I'm
I'm
reclaimed her
not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say
I'll
this.
direct it to
What a
you.
massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a
Mr.
question.
Chairman, will you
Chairman.
restore her time? The witness
I'm
is
not going to get in
interrupting.
the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing
and
theatrics.
let me have my time.
The gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only
Regular
to
order.
then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up. And I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level
Chairman,
apologize
The chair now
to them
recognizes the chair.
on what you
Unprofessional.
have done.
The time of the
I
gentlelady
yield
expired.
back.
The gentlelady, you have no time to yield back.
Theatrics.
We appreciate the thought.
You have no time to yield back, and that was pure theatrics. And she made herself look like a loser.
And I would argue the central issue in the last election, the presidential election, was securing the border. The gentleman from Arizona who knows something about securing the border is up for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. In 2022, Lafarge, which is a French cement company, pled guilty in U.S. federal court to participating in a criminal conspiracy with ISIS. That conspiracy contributed to the deaths of U.S. service members fighting in Syria during Operation Inherent Resolve. As part of the plea agreement, Lafarge was required to pay more than $775 million into DOJ's Asset Forfeiture Fund. In February 2025, my colleagues and I sent you a letter urging the department to review the petitions for remission submitted by Operation Ignore.
And other misconduct.
This is live, but I went back a little bit so we can kind of play with it forward a little bit. So the beauty of it, I can forward a little bit.
By Jack Smith, by others, Arctic Frost, everything that happened under the past administration. And we are committed to working.
Even more troubling, the DOJ has failed to bring any of these perpetrators to justice. Instead, it has engaged in a relentless pursuit of Donald Trump's perceived enemies. I want to focus on just one example. The Attorney General of my home state of New York, Tish James. This DOJ has been hell-bent on securing an indictment against Ms. James for something, anything.
What's up, Nurse Terry? And to the rest that are joining on Instagram, Javid Shah, Magba Khamenei.
simply because she held Donald Trump's companies accountable for years of financial fraud. And indeed, the department manufactured an investigation against her for alleged, quote, mortgage fraud. But the U.S. attorney leading the investigation, Eric Siebert, a Trump appointee, refused to bring charges against Ms. James because there was simply no evidence. Unfortunately, a prosecutor who refuses to do Trump's bidding has no place in this DOJ, so Mr. Siebert was forced out. Trump could not contain his fury. Fury that he expressed to you in a sermon was under...
bro, we got you.
Administration released over
It worked.
to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings.
Let's go back. Hold on.
Robert fired him twice.
Let's go. Here we go.
Thank you. First, he brought up the president saying they indicted me twice. They sure did. They tried to impeach him twice. And you, Mr. Nadler, were one of the leads on the impeachment. I was on the other side. I lived that with you. During impeachment, you said the president conspired, sought foreign interference in the 2016 election. Robert Mueller found no evidence, none, of foreign interference in 2016. Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump? You all should be apologizing. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. You know, all they want to do, the American people need to know this. They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million, and Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them ask Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein.
Nope.
How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over, the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow. Damn,
bro. Love it, dude. Look, you see that? Yeah.
Dow is over 50,000 right now.
They don't want to talk about the economy and what's happening right now. Everyone's winning right now. So what are they doing? Losing their minds over something that was something they could have done something about, which they did nothing about. Nothing. And then Donald Trump, then they come screaming because they think Trump is in it and that he's complicit. And then Trump actually does, he plays them so well. And then he's the one that called them out. That's so good.
Now, the S&P at almost 7,000 and the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings.
You know what? I want her to go after more people, and I'll give her criticism, but I do want to give her praise. She's doing a great job calling out all the things that the Democrats are trying to distract us from. All the W's that we have. Dude, we are, right now, people are making money hand over fist in the economy. If you have half a brain, you're making good money right now.
Are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
I love it.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Yes.
Thank you. The Dow
Let's go.
has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year. National median rents have fallen to a 4-year low thanks to Donald Trump. That's why they want to focus on Epstein, and our most transparent president in the nation's history. The murder rate, as I said, has plummeted to a 125-year low thanks to Donald Trump. For an unprecedented 9 straight months, there were 0 illegal border crossings at the southern border. That's what we should be focused on. All the great work that this president has done and will continue to do to keep America safe and to make Americans safe.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi. I agree with you totally. I think you've done a fine job. I think that Democrats, in fact, should be apologizing to the Epstein victims for doing nothing during the 4 years that they were running the government. We did not hear about this, and it took you and President Trump to finally provide transparency and give answers to the American people, and I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you also for standing up for truth today and for fighting back against the theatrics and the time waste that you will endure.
By the way, guys, on YouTube, I got both horizontal and vertical, and I'm just noticing people on the horizontal stream are talking, but the guys in the vertical don't see that. And it's funny, but you guys lost it. Oh, random, bro. If you see the horizontal, you're going to lose it.
Over the next hour or two, I want to apologize on behalf of my colleagues on the left. They're not all that bad, but they've got to put on a show. And I'm sorry that you have to go through that. And I would like to yield the last, I'd say 40, and 40 is 80 seconds. The clock says 40, but I've got 80 seconds since I was so rudely interrupted, and I'll give all 80 seconds to Chairman Jordan. And I would just yield to the Attorney General if she has anything to add.
I'm fine to continue. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, the chair now recognizes, the gentleman yields back, the chair recognizes the gentlelady from California.
I love it. See, this is what it looks like when you have competency. When you have the libs stand up, when you have the libs on the stand, when you have them that are being asked questions and all that kind of stuff, you see, I'll put it on. We'll put it on later, but it is. See, this is what competency looks like, guys. Look.
Mr. Chairman, I would note that Mr. Nadler's question has not yet been answered, but I want to start by asking that out of respect for the American public and the Epstein survivors, some of whom, of course, are here today, that we can have a transparent conversation and get the public the answers they deserve. I want to briefly direct your attention to 2 documents I'm hoping we will put up on the screen. In the first, an individual emails Jeffrey Epstein.
Thanks, bro. Did you get him? I just wanted you to see it, just to laugh. But thank you, ma'am. You're the man.
Whether a woman identified as...
And those of you that are, again, joining on Instagram, I know a bunch of you guys are Iranian, and I want to let you know, Javid Shah and Maghba Khamenei and Payanda Iran.
M was pro or civilian, and Epstein responds that she was a civilian, Russian, and fun. In the second email, Epstein writes to Steve Tisch about a Ukrainian girl, noting that she was, quote, a little freaked out by the age difference and stating that he would try to convince her not to return to Ukraine. He then instructs Mr. Tisch to call him, adding, I don't like records of these conversations. So I'd like to ask a straightforward question that really is either a yes or no answer. Do these emails constitute credible evidence, not proof, but credible evidence warning further investigation into whether Steve Tisch was involved in Epstein's criminal conduct? Do you think yes or no?
I'm not going to play a yes-no game with you, but I will answer the question to the best of my ability. As I said, we will look and investigate any case involving any victim. I'm not familiar, there were 3 million pages, of course, with that email, but of course, we will look into anything. The documents have been released, 3 million. The redacted versions, we left them open for all of you to come view. I believe you view them. If not, will you have some copies?
I'd like to.
But could I finish, please? I'm not being rude, please.
I only have 5 minutes.
No, yeah, and I only have 30 seconds based on your filibustering.
Well, you didn't give a yes or no answer, so let me just go further. Director Patel.
Look at this dinosaur from California, bro.
Testified in
Lofgren.
This
Let me look it up.
Committee room that there was no credible information indicating that Epstein trafficked victims to anyone else. And glancing at the documents, that's proves that's not the case. In July,
looks like this dinosaur, Miss Lofgren, from California, must be on Ozempic, because this is what she looked like not too long ago. This is Lofgren right here. She was probably double the size not too long ago. Let's keep going.
Your department issued a memo stating that it had conducted an exhaustive review of the Epstein files and concluded that no additional individuals would be charged. So I did go over to the Department of Justice yesterday. I would note that 400 and all our 35 members are in the House, and there's 4 computers. So it would take many months to actually have the time. I only had a few hours. I think the transparency argument is really kind of a sham, because it's not really possible.
Whoa. Did you have to wait to get a computer?
It is not possible to really go in. I did, however, see a U.S. attorney information for the Southern District of New York indicating that there were additional survivors and probable co-conspirators. Other members of Congress have uncovered likely co-conspirators whose names were blocked out.
Yeah, it looks like a completely different woman.
Now, the Epstein File Transparency Act, which all but one member of this House voted for and the president signed, requires the department to release everything.
John, bro, thanks for joining, man. Yeah, glad to help, bro. Glad to have you, bro. Welcome.
Except that it needs to be redacted to protect the victims or an ongoing prosecution, which apparently...
Are you saying that you came from the horizontal stream?
There is none from the testimony we have received. I am concerned that this act has not been fully complied with. When Director Patel came to the committee, he admitted that up to 1,000 FBI agents had gone through the files and redacted President Trump's name from them. And it's pretty clear that what
Random said is exactly 100% what we all think. He's exactly right. If they had anything on Trump, the files would have been released back in 2023 to destroy his election, to destroy his run for presidency.
And transmitted from the FBI continues to redact President Trump's name, even though he is mentioned thousands of times in these files. So I think the credibility of the department in terms of complying with the act has been damaged. And I think the department's credibility has been damaged in other ways. I think we all saw the horrible video of American citizens being killed.
Oh, she's told this lady, I just looked her up, bro. She's in the what we call NorCal kind of, but she's San Jose area, like Silicon Valley area, which is very, very left, very woke, this lady.
Killed by ICE agents in Minneapolis. And I think how the department has handled these cases raises a lot of doubt about the department. State and local police in Minnesota got a court order to get access to the crime scene to be sure evidence would be properly preserved by federal agents. But they took the agents defied the court order, and in a departure from general policy, the DOJ is not collaborating with state and local law enforcement on these homicides. So I really think that is a disgrace.
That is what she looked like right there. This is the same lady. This right here is this lady right here, Lofgren, was this, turned into this. Can you believe that? Is that crazy? Look at that. Wow. Crazy. What kind of an animal do you have to be to let yourself go to get this, like, to look like that? What the hell? Look at this. Look at this. What the hell is going on, bro? Holy shit. Oh, wow. Oh, there you go. NR Always Smiling says, I am from that area and that's why I left. Exactly, bro. That whole San Jose, San Francisco area of California is the most woke. It's more woke than Los Angeles, believe it or not. It's more.
I find it interesting she keeps going after Donald Trump. She doesn't say how much money she took from Reid Hoffman, did you?
None.
Oh, bro, hold on a second. Hold on. Let's go back. Whoa.
To bring credit to your department. And Mr. Chairman, I would yield back.
Gentlelady yields back.
May I answer?
Attorney General can respond.
I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history. And if they could maintain their composure.
Glad to have you, old Greg. Welcome.
This isn't a circus. This is a hearing. I find it interesting she keeps going after Donald Trump. She doesn't say how much money she took from Reid Hoffman, did you?
None.
And nor did
Mr.
she
Chairman,
post
regular
anything.
order, please.
She
Regular order.
posted nothing on her X account, on her Twitter account during the Biden years.
Gentlelady.
Yet now, all of a sudden,
question
she's
asked.
going after.
I love it. Yet all of a sudden, bro, she just roasted her, bro. Exactly.
Will be in
Point of
order.
order. There was no
Committee will
question
be in
asked of
order.
the Attorney General. She doesn't
Shame
just
on
get to
you.
Committee will be in
Hold on,
order.
I have
let's
a
go.
point of
Let's
order,
go again.
Mr. Chairman.
It's a hearing. I find it interesting she keeps going after Donald Trump. She doesn't say how much money she took from Reid Hoffman, did you?
None.
And nor did
Mr.
she
Chairman,
post
regular
anything.
order, please.
She
Regular order.
posted nothing on her X account,
Gentlelady.
on her Twitter account during the Biden years.
Gentlelady.
Yet now,
there
all
was
of
no
a sudden,
question
she's
asked.
going after.
Committee will be in
Point of
order.
order. There was no
Committee will
question
be in
asked of
order.
the Attorney General. She doesn't just get to
Committee will be in order.
I have a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Committee will be in order.
Point of order.
I love it, bro. Let's go. Where's my popcorn, dude?
Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady can state her point of order.
When a witness attacks,
Not a valid point of order. You got to state.
She hasn't completed her point of order yet.
Gotta
Please let her
cite-
speak, Mr. Chairman. Let's have some regular order here.
Regular order is you got to state the rule. And she
I am
didn't do it.
trying to make a point of order that the witness,
And what rule are you referring to?
without responding to a question, has attacked me personally. I think it's
What rule?
pathetic that she can't answer the questions and
First
instead
time
is
that
attacking
is not even close
members
to a
of the
point of
committee.
order. The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
In August of last year, I sent a letter to the Department of Justice asking for assistance in seeking compensation for the town of Lac du Flambeau. Town of Lac du Flambeau is in my district, and your office replied that it was an ongoing matter and unable to comment on it, which I understand. That's just fine. But I want to set this up just as a reminder. So 3 years ago, it was at this time of year that 4 roads were blockaded in the town of Lac du Flambeau, and the temperature was 25 below zero.
Thank you, Danielle. And who's this what is this guy talking about? Republicans equal liars? What are you talking about, bro?
People had to park their cars at a neighbor's place, take the snowmobile across the lake to get their car, and then be able to drive into town. There were people 80 and 90 years old that could not, were very concerned that they'd be able to get emergency medical services. And
did they think of moving to a different town if that's the case?
the perpetrators of this, the tribe out there, they demanded compensation from the town. I would call it extortion. They ultimately got $600,000 from the town of Lac du Flambeau. The unfortunate part, Mr. Chairman, is that the Biden administration took the side of the perpetrators who closed those roads off, and the Biden administration made it clear to the town of Lac du Flambeau that we are not on your side in regards to this. Well, fortunately, there was a federal judge that said, no, this is wrong, what happened, and these roads should be left open, they should continue to be left open. My question to you is, are you willing to work with my office and with the town of Lac du Flambeau to further investigate this matter and seek compensation from the tribal government after their extortion of $600,000 from this little town in northern Wisconsin?
Congressman, you do a great job representing your district. And yes, we would more than welcome working with you, and we are familiar with that. investigation.
Mr. Chairman, I would just add, we're highlighting these miscarriages of justice in the previous administration. This is just another one of those small examples, no different than the Catholic Diocese in Richmond and many others that you have retold so many times. But here's another instance.
By the way, guys, if you're on Instagram, come over to the YouTube live, the vertical live. It's way more people talking in the. We got like 800 people talk in there, and the chat is very much alive. And then if you're on the live stream on YouTube, if you're on the horizontal one, you can go and check, get on the vertical one. Again, we got like 800, 700, 800 people in there right now.
Of what they did to a small town and nearly bankrupted them as a result of it. Fortunately, there was a federal judge that saw through it and has fixed it.
Super good to have you, bro. See you, man. MIGA, bro. Let's go.
I want to move on to fraud enforcement. You've established a National Fraud Enforcement Division. Is that correct, Madam Attorney General?
Yes, Congressman.
Has this new division begun any investigations and getting after those individuals that have committed the rampant fraud we've seen, like in Minnesota?
Well, it's not only rampant in Minnesota, it's rampant throughout this country. Much of it is in California, as you know, and other places. Yes, we are working on it actively. Our criminal fraud division has been working on it. We are expanding that. It was the vice president's idea to come up with this amazing separate fraud division, which we are establishing and going nonstop, not only to expose the fraud in Minnesota, but around the country. It's taxpayer dollars that have been stolen from the American people, and we are committed to recovering that money and holding those people accountable.
Mr. Chairman, I would remind everyone here, why did this happen in Minneapolis? Why did federal law enforcement have to go to Minneapolis? Because of industrial scale fraud. It was an assistant United States attorney that said, this is industrial scale fraud that's going on in Minnesota at this point. I sent a letter to our governor in Wisconsin. We're right across the border there. My district is only 20 miles from the city of Minneapolis. And I asked him to open the books for a federal audit on food stamps and Medicaid. Don't you think it would be a good idea for every governor to do that at this point?
It protects the citizens, and I can't understand why that's not happening. And yes, I do think that's a great idea. It's happening around this country. And when our new division with Colin McDonald is established, it's established when Colin is confirmed. He's amazing. I think you've met with him, you said, Chairman. When that is established, we're going to work on both sides of the aisle. That's what we want to do, to stop fraud in every city, in every state in this country. We will continue to fight for the American people.
The problem is you have so many Democrats that are themselves part of the fraud. That's why they don't want to help. That's why you saw what we saw in Minnesota. You saw them go crazy when we uncovered fraud in Minneapolis. Because why do you think they went nuts? Guess why the Democrats lost their minds when we found fraud in not just fraud. We're talking world record fraud. The biggest fraud in the history of the biggest fraud of taxpayer money in the history of our country.
Would encourage every governor across the United States after
exactly, gotcha, because they're crooks.
What we have seen in Minnesota, what we almost certainly know is happening in other states, you mentioned California, you would agree that every governor should avail themselves of federal resources to make sure that this industrial scale fraud is rooted out to protect the taxpayers of the United States. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Tennessee is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I'd like to thank you for holding this hearing and holding it in a proper fashion as you have. Secondly, I'd like to thank all of the victims of the Epstein case who've come here to attend this hearing, for doing it and for being brave and trying to move this justice forward. I apologize, I can't do it with the Attorney General not recognizing you. That's embarrassing. I am from Memphis, General Bondi. And Memphis does have the task force there. The Memphis Safe Task Force has been operating in Memphis for several months.
Buddy's hands are shaking bad. That sucks, dude. His hands are really shaking really bad. I don't know if you could see on the screen.
And we do have a Democratic mayor, Paul Young, and he's not against the task force, but he is against ICE being in Memphis, and he's not in favor of the National Guard
holding
being
them
in
down
Memphis.
now, so they're
And
not.
I concur with him on those positions. I think the DEA being there, the alcohol, tobacco Memphis for several months. This does have the task force there.
He needs a drink. Watch, look at his hands right now. Poor guy, dude. Look.
The Memphis Safe Task Force has been operating in Memphis for several months. And we do have a Democratic mayor, Paul Young, and he's not against the task force, but he is against ICE being in Memphis, and he's not in favor of the National Guard being in Memphis. And I concur with him on those positions. I think the DEA being there, the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, the FBI, who have been in Memphis in other ways, having more people there is good for Memphis. Crime has gone down in Memphis, but it went down 25% before the task force got there under the direction of Mayor Young and Director Davis, Chief Davis. It's gone down about 15% more since then, and that's good. But I would like to comment that Mexico City's homicide rate has gone down 40% during the same time when Memphis has only gone down 25%, and that's not necessarily because of the task force, although the mayor says he thinks it's...
What the hell is this guy talking about right now?
It's helped, so I thank you for that. You would agree, I presume, that violent crime in communities across our country is critically important, and that's why the task force is there. Is that not true?
Yes, and if I can just add to that, I think the surge, the FBI, our FBI under the leadership of Director Patel, came in and did a surge in Memphis.
Earlier.
Prior to the task force.
Yeah,
and thank you for saying that about Mayor Young. He's been great to work with, and thank you.
He's a good guy.
He's a very good guy.
Stabby, bro, you should, I'm telling you, bro, you should come over to the vertical stream. There's a lot more people to talk to. There's 700 people in there right now. So go, you'll have a better time in there. You're right. They haven't got to California yet. They're just getting to California right now as we speak. So we're looking forward to that. And Illinois, sanctuary states. You're right, bro.
One problem I've got with where we are in priorities here. A recent Department of Justice, National Institute of Justice report based on arrest records.
Go to my profile, Stabby, and go to the vertical stream. You'll see what I mean.
Texas and in California found that undocumented immigrants were less than half as likely as U.S.-born Americans to be arrested for homicide. And this pattern holds for assault, sexual assault, robbery, burglary, theft, and arson. Half as likely to be arrested for drug offenses. So I ask you, and I've written to you about this, there are TV ads that run that say, to local law enforcement, specifically, says, are you tired of having your hands handcuffed because you can't do the things you wanted to do when you joined, and if you want to do something different, join ICE and you'll get a $50,000 bonus and we'll pay off your debts, student debts, and we'll help you with pensions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they're encouraging local law enforcement to leave local law enforcement and go to work for ICE. We need people working in the front lines and local law enforcement to protect our citizens from the worst of the worst. The worst of the worst are not the immigrants.
Well, one thing you fail to mention is in a lot of these sanctuary cities, you're not helping ICE. You're not helping federal law enforcement. Actually, you're telling your local police, local law enforcement to stand down, to not help them. So we're happy to convert them to help out.
The worst of the worst records show are native-born Americans, and they are committing crimes that hurt our citizens and our cities, and you're working against it, and thank you for that. But by trying to get our local law enforcement, where we have an undercount of officers in Memphis, to leave Memphis and go to work for ICE to deport people is a wrong priority. Why are we trying to get people, policemen who are working on the front lines, to leave the front lines, take the $50,000 and go to work for ICE?
Because you guys are telling them not to cooperate with federal law enforcement. That's why.
And instead of working...
It's not brain surgery, bro, but I'm sure Pam Bondi will tell you right now.
...to fight the worst of the worst.
Congressman, I have not yet seen that commercial, that ad. I would argue that we need strong people in both local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and all of our federal agencies working together. I've seen some of the worst violent criminals who were in this country illegally. We
Good point. Pay them better, treat them better, and maybe they won't go to ICE.
both know that. And in Memphis, working hand in hand.
When you are in those cities, and a great point, Sean, they defund police. So if you're defunding your local police and you're treating them like shit, and you're treating them like they're the worst people in your city, and all of your citizens in your city are treating them like shit, and then ICE comes along and says, hey, bro, come work for us. Like, you have a good time and we'll take care of you. Of course they're going to flip.
And I want to stick with Memphis and your mayor and what you discussed.
What's up, beautiful Bill?
Because there have been.
And by the way, guys, Stabby says on the vertical stream, it doesn't play in the background on its phone when he turns the screen off. So he's going to stay on the horizontal side.
Been nearly 6,000 arrests as of February 8th, and I think you agree with this, in your district, and almost 600 gang members. What we found in Memphis, a lot of the gangs are local gangs. But 600 gang members were taken off the streets.
my time because I've only 40 seconds. I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah.
I thank you for that.
And 148 missing children were recovered by all of us working together, and nearly 1,000 illegal guns were seized as a result of us working together.
And I don't disagree with some of the things you said, but there are questions about those children, but it's a different thing. The fact is, ICE is running rampant, and you are not investigating them. When they killed Mr. Prete, and Miss Good.
Mr. Prete, you mean when he was like beating up the law enforcement vehicle when he was kicking the lights out of the car?
Good, that was an execution, and you did not investigate it. And you tried to investigate Miss Good's widow, and you tried to investigate Mr. Prete. They were executed like Kristi Noem executed her dog. And that was wrong. And you should investigate those people, and you should investigate.
We should investigate him for lying right now. They weren't executed. That's a lie. Can we go after him now for what he just said?
Anybody that uses a weapon, in federal official or not, for civil rights violations. I yield back the balance.
Gentleman yields back his time. Madam.
Greg Crocker says this congressman is the worst of the worst. He pretends to be black in all his votes just because they're black. He's corrupt. Huh. I don't know. I wonder where he's from.
Attorney General, anytime you need a break, just let us know. If not, we'll just keep going. The chair is now recognized for 5 minutes. Madam Attorney General, you're not allowed to exercise your constitutional rights in a way that tramples on someone else's, are you?
No.
No, you can't do that. I mean, you have a right to petition the government under the First Amendment. That doesn't mean you can come into this room and start screaming at Mr. Raskin or me or anybody else and disrupt a congressional hearing. You have a right to protest on the street, but that doesn't give you a right to go into the Capitol and disrupt Congress. Something these guys talk about every day. You can't do that. So when Don Lemon said that he was exercising his First Amendment free press rights, freedom of the press rights, that's not really accurate because he was trampling on other individuals' rights. Is that?
That's not accurate at all. The guy went into a building, into private property, or in that case, a church. Even worse, they went into a church, and he calls that protest. You can't do that. You can't go protest and go into a church while they're
Is that
doing what
true?
they're doing. You can't do that.
Chairman, we will always protect our churches and the freedom of religion. And yes, that's accurate.
First right mentioned under the First Amendment, freedom of religion, freedom to practice your faith the way you think the good Lord wants you to, right?
That's right, under the federal government.
And isn't it true that Mr. Lemon met at a shopping center with the rioters who entered City's church in St. Paul, met with them prior to marching to the church?
He did meet, and this is a pending case right now, so I will only stick to what is in the four corners of the unsealed indictment, if I could, Chairman.
Yeah, I'm
There's a lot more that will come out. But under the four corners of the indictment, yes, he did. They had an operation called Operation Pull-Up. They said they were gearing for a resistance. They met in a parking lot, and they caravanned to a church on a Sunday morning when people were worshiping together.
And Mr. Lemon said that he live streamed before entering the church with the rioters. Didn't he say we're going to head to the operation? Didn't he say this on, he said this on camera, is that right?
Yes, Chairman,
Yeah.
and more.
That he was in Minnesota and that, as you said, they were gearing up for an operation. So again, you can't do that. This is why this is, I think, so important that this guy be held accountable, and I think why you guys have charged him and indicted him.
100%. Not even if he wasn't there planning it and meeting up and doing all that stuff, he should still be held accountable. But because he did that, 100% we should be going after it and stopping it. That's how we are a nation of law and order, bro. We should be holding people accountable. This is not like some third world lawless country like Somalia. What are we talking about? By the way, Athena, yes, Javid Shah and Poyande Iran.
Him. Moving to the second subject here. Will John Brennan be indicted? Mr. Brennan lied to the committee, which you're not supposed to do. Last Congress, when we deposed him, he definitely, 18 U.S.C. 1001, we're all familiar with it. He lied to the committee, and the committee, the Congress, and I think the country would like to know if, in fact, he's going to be indicted for lying to, and here's why it's so important. I'll give you a chance to respond. Here's why it's so important. It wasn't just that he lied to us, it's what he lied to us about. He lied to us about when all this weaponization against the President of the United States started. He lied to us about the dossier, and specifically what role the dossier played in the intelligence community assessment. Because we know back when...
W. Russell, bro, I love that. That's what we're talking about, bro. Hell yeah. And then, and Greg says, church in Texas is pretty much an armory, which is why they will never try this in a state with balls. Exactly, bro.
When President Trump was first elected, first term, this is when it all started, which led to the Mueller and to the impeachment and to the Jack Smith and all the stuff that's happened in the last decade. But it began here, and he lied to Congress about the role he played. And I just want to read a couple of things he said during that deposition before I give you a chance to respond. Mr. Brennan, when asked a question, said the CIA was not involved at all with the dossier. He said it was their purview, FBI's purview, and not ours. He also said the CIA was very much opposed to having any reference or inclusion of the Steele dossier in the intelligence community assessment. Well, that's interesting because declassified information that was declassified this past summer by the CIA says something entirely different. It says, Brennan, I want to put this one up if we have it. It says, Brennan ultimately formalized his position in writing, stating that, quote, this is released by the CIA Director Ratcliffe, my bottom line is that what I believe that information warrants inclusion in the report. He was further asked by an CIA official. The same officer said when he approached the director and asked that the director refused to remove it after being explained this wasn't good. With the dossier's many flaws, he said, yes, but doesn't it ring true? So this is John Brennan using that document to change intelligence community assessment, which I think led to all the stuff we've seen over the last decade. And I think this committee in the country, Congress in the country, would like to know if Mr. Brennan is going to be indicted.
What I can confirm is that we have received a referral from...
You know what? I just, Stabby says, I wish we could have more elected reps like Mr. Gill. Dude, I love Gill, bro. I love Brandon Gill, bro. And he says he gets a turn towards the end and it's rapid fire yes or no as per his usual style. I love it.
You, Chairman.
Should I forward to that real quick and then we'll jump back?
Jordan, to investigate John Brennan. His attorneys have made some public statements, but the department is still bound, of course, by our longstanding policy of not
Here's Brandon, bro.
All of the citizens of that.
Here is Brandon, bro, and which is almost live now. But here's Brandon. Dude, I love Brandon Gill. Here we go.
Jurisdiction.
And you've been sued a lot, or the administration has, by folks who don't like your policies.
Hundreds of times.
You've won many of those.
Attorney General for taking the time to speak with us.
Here we go. Guys, if you don't know, this is Brandon Gill, bro. He is a G, and you should follow him on Instagram and everywhere else.
We certainly really appreciate it. I've got a series of questions for you that we can get through pretty quickly, I think. Can you tell me, is it true that the Biden-Harris DOJ raided President Trump's home?
They did.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ allow Jack Smith to spy on over a dozen Republican members of Congress?
Absolutely.
Did the Biden-Harris
Damn, bro. Stabby, you were right, bro. W Stabby, bro. Here we go.
DOJ seize
Hold
the
on,
phone
let
of
me
a
go
sitting
back.
Republican member? Did the Biden-Harris DOJ allow Jack Smith to spy on over a dozen Republican members of Congress?
Hold on.
Harris DOJ, true that we can times. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Madam Attorney General, for taking the time to speak with us. We certainly really appreciate it. I've got a series of questions for you that we can get through pretty quickly, I think. Can you tell me, is it true that the Biden-Harris DOJ raided President Trump's home?
They did.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ allow Jack Smith to spy on over a dozen Republican members of Congress?
Raided Trump's home, spied on members of Congress. This has all happened, guys.
Absolutely.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ seize the phone of a sitting Republican congressman?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ and Jack Smith pay at least $20,000 to confidential human sources to provide information on President Trump?
At least.
At least. Did the Biden-Harris DOJ and FBI fail to apprehend the suspect who placed pipe bombs near the Capitol ahead of January 6th?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ target parents as domestic terrorists?
Absolutely.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ target pro-life Catholics, going so far as to interview a priest and a choir director?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ send FBI SWAT teams to
Guys, he's Texas 26th Congressional District, and I'll pull it up right now if you want to see it.
arrest pro-life advocates with no criminal histories?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ use the FACE Act to target pro-life advocates while it allowed anti-life agitators to vandalize, destroy, and firebomb pregnancy resource centers and churches?
Multiple times, I believe.
Multiple times. Did the Biden-Harris DOJ ever determine who leaked the Dobbs decision? Did the Biden-Harris DOJ target parents as domestic terrorists?
Absolutely.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ target pro-life Catholics, going so far as to interview a priest and a choir director?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ send FBI SWAT teams to arrest pro-life advocates with no criminal histories?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ use the FACE Act to target pro-life advocates while it allowed anti-life agitators to vandalize, destroy, and firebomb pregnancy resource centers and churches?
Multiple times, I believe.
Multiple times. Did the Biden-Harris DOJ ever determine who leaked the Dobbs decision?
I can't discuss that. No, under Biden-Harris.
Got it.
No.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ and FBI target whistleblowers for revealing waste, fraud, and abuse within the department to Congress?
Not to my knowledge.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ refuse to say whether it coordinated with Alvin Bragg, Fani Willis, and Letitia James in their lawfare against President Trump?
They refused.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ slow walk the criminal investigation and prosecution of Hunter Biden?
Okay, so for those of you wondering, his district is in Texas, and it includes these cities: Denton, Louisville, Corinth, which I believe is a Greek, Highland Village, Little Elm, and Flower Mound.
That's an understatement, in my opinion.
And he looks like Superman. If you look at, I'll show you.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ determine who brought cocaine into the Biden White House?
They did not.
They did not. Did the Biden-Harris DOJ cover up the extent?
As far as we know, they did not.
Right, that's right. Did the Biden-Harris DOJ cover up the extent of the Russia collusion hoax?
Absolutely, in my opinion. Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ, seek leniency from a federal court for an IRS contractor who leaked sensitive tax information on over 7,600 Americans, including President Trump?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ sue Texas because the state wanted to secure its own southern border?
Yes.
And finally, did the Biden-Harris DOJ attack SpaceX for hiring too many Americans, including President Trump? Tax information on over 7,600 Americans, including President Trump?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ sue Texas because the state wanted to secure its own southern border?
Wow. Did they sue our own state of Texas for wanting to secure their own border, bro? Can you believe that? I forgot about that. Oh my God, bro, we are idiots. If you're some other country, bro, and you look at us, you go, dude, you go, bro, these guys are morons. Imagine the Biden administration sued Texas for wanting to secure its own border. We're idiots.
Yes.
And finally, did the Biden-Harris DOJ attack
hear it again.
Biden-Harris DOJ sue Texas because the state wanted to secure its own southern border?
Yes.
And finally, did the Biden-Harris DOJ attack SpaceX for hiring too many Americans?
I believe they did.
Yep.
I am going to make a clip because that will go. I need to save this. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. So I need to save this. Okay, I got to save that. Okay, cool. I got that.
Unbelievable.
I'm going to make a clip that's going to go crazy on Instagram, bro. That's going to be nuts.
It is unbelievable. And I appreciate that a lot of this is being cleaned up under your leadership. So thank you for returning the DOJ back to its core focus, which is on the rule of law. And I think that we see the results of that. I've got a few more similar questions for you. How have, over the past year since President Trump has been in office, how have murders
Bro,
trended?
I can't get over this. I can't even hear what he's saying right now because I'm still thinking about how stupid it was. Like, you sue. Imagine, and we're trying to undo. This was the whole problem in the first place, and they wanted to flood our country with illegals so bad they literally sued our own state of Texas bordering Mexico. I'm losing, bro. I'm sweating, dude. Oh, bro, these guys are idiots. Wow.
In the United States.
Since President Trump has been in office, the murder rate has dropped to a historic 20% drop in the national murder rate, lowest since 1900.
20% drop in 1 year. That's incredible,
My AC is already low. I got to lower it even more. Holy cow.
isn't it?
And that's thanks to the incredible men and women of law enforcement, FBI, DEA, ATF, everyone working together to solve violent crime, along with our sheriffs, our local law enforcement, working as a team throughout this country, and our great state and federal prosecutors.
Yep. And how have robberies trended?
Wow.
Have they gone, even if they've just gone up or down?
Robberies, all violent crime, all violent crime has decreased as well as robberies.
So murders, violent crime, the country is more safe now, it's fair to say, would you agree, than it was a year and a half ago under Joe Biden?
Absolutely, and Director Patel is working tirelessly to catch those, I'm sure you've been seeing, on the most wanted list.
Mm-hmm.
He and Deputy Director Bongino from day one said, we're going to get the most wanted list, and that's what's been happening, working hand in hand with all of our agencies.
Yep. And I want to thank you for that. Thank you for the work you've been doing to refocus the DOJ again on doing your core job. We're very happy with it, and I'll yield the remainder of my time to the chairman.
I appreciate it, gentlemen. I would just say earlier, one of the Democrats said that they said, "Who are you? Who you are?" And I think you're the Attorney General who I think on the first day disbanded the FIDF, first day on the job, rescinded the memo that required spying on parents that Mr. Garland had issued, and stood up the weaponization working group. I think you did that all on day one.
Day one.
Not to mention, you're the first Justice Department that's put in place, as we've talked about earlier, this Deputy Attorney General for combating fraud. So we appreciate that, and of course, all the things that Mr. Gill pointed out with the crime stats that have went down. So our last question of the day, but not the least, the gentleman, I'm sorry, we're going to have two more. We got Mr. Onder and then Mr. Baumgartner. So Mr. Baumgartner, let's go that way since you're here. You're ready to go. Mr. Baumgartner, and then we'll come back to Mr. Onder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Attorney General Bondi. You know, being a freshman on this committee, you always get a bit surprised, I guess, even this 1 year into my term here, how theatrical days like this can be. But I think you've performed well today and answered the questions well today, and that's a credit to you and appreciated by the American people. You know, the Epstein issue is certainly important and is important for the victims. I think both I and the American people have a little bit of trouble taking the Democrats super seriously on this issue when they have been so uncurious about President Clinton's relations with Jeffrey Epstein. And even myself, I had no idea that there was actually a sitting Democrat congresswoman who had taken substantial campaign donations for Mr. Epstein, only when that came to light on
directing HHS to review the clinical evidence
We're gonna go
and determine
forward to
whether
right about
sex-rejecting
what is going on
interventions
here.
caused
Hold
more
on.
harm than closing to end the preclusion. During a hearing chaired by now Speaker Mike Johnson, I'd like to play a clip of
my Adam's apple more
to introduce that bill as the Chloe Cole Act. We named the bill after Chloe Cole, who sat where you're sitting just a few years ago on her 19th birthday. During a hearing chaired by now Speaker Mike Johnson, I'd like to play a clip of her testimony that day to remind us of our story.
Onto puberty blockers and then testosterone. The resulting menopausal-like hot flashes made focusing on school impossible. I still get joint pains and weird pops in my back, but they were far worse when I was on the blockers. A month later, when I was 13, I had my first testosterone injection. This caused permanent changes to my body. My voice will forever be deeper, my jawline sharper, my nose longer, my bone structure permanently masculinized, my Adam's apple more prominent, my fertility unknown. I look in the mirror sometimes and I feel like a monster. I had a double mastectomy at 15. They tested my amputated breast for cancer. And I was cancer-free, of course. I was perfectly healthy. There was nothing wrong with my still developing body or my breasts, other than that, as an insecure teenage girl, I felt awkward about it. After my breasts were taken away from me, the tissue was incinerated. Before I was able to legally drive, I had a huge part of my future womanhood taken from me. I will never be able to breastfeed. I struggle to look at myself in the mirror at times. I still struggle to this day with sexual dysfunction. And I have massive scars across my chest, and the skin grafts that they took of my nipples are weeping fluid today, and they were grafted into a more masculine positioning, they said.
Chloe testified that day that what she needed was mental health therapy, but she never received it. And she was not suicidal until after they did these horrible things to her. She pleaded with Congress to act so that future children would not suffer what she did. Last week was a major turning point in for these medical malpractice claims when a detransitioner was the first to successfully hold doctors liable with a $2 million settlement for what they did to that poor girl. Just days later, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons announced that they would no longer do transgender surgeries on minors, and the AMA followed suit. This proves that if the bill your DOJ drafted were passed into law, these barbaric practices would end immediately, because all victims would be able to hold those who harm them accountable. Could you share with us a little bit about your work in advocating for victims like Chloe and what a private right of action would mean for victims like her and their families?
Yes, and first, Congressman, thank you for championing this bill. And also to Chloe, what a brave young woman to come before this body.
Yes.
And
at age 19.
At age 19, and talk about what happened to her.
That's crazy. And I got to say, Denise, I think is how you say that name. You say your name. It says those doctors should not be allowed to practice anymore. Yeah.
It's not about just giving relief to children who have been harmed. It allows victims whose healthy body parts have been damaged to seek relief and obtain relief. And thanks to you, and we are proud to work hand in hand with you on this issue. And I think it's pretty sad none of your colleagues on the other side of the aisle even brought that up. But I hope they support this to protect all children throughout this country.
Well, General Bondi, thank you so much to you, to your department, to President Trump. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
Sam, I don't agree. Sam says that lip injections, Botox, and BBLs and hair transplants are all under the same umbrella. Absolutely not, bro. I don't agree with Sam on that. Not the same. Taking puberty blockers, chemically altering your yourself to, whatever it is that it does to your body. Way different than, doing some kind of like a minor cosmetic add-on or something like that.
Just save some UC requests for the end, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Especially when we're talking about minors or people that are going through puberty. Way different.
Go right ahead.
Thank you kindly. Record low crime during the Biden-Harris administration. Crime down in every category in 2024 under Biden. FBI report says Trump takes credit for violent crime drop where rates were already falling. From NPR, Trump administration targets ATF with plans to cut jobs and ease gun restrictions. And then a few oldies but goodies. I've introduced these before about the claim.
Well, you're saying it's gender affirming care is lip inject. Well, no, if I don't, maybe I misunderstood what you said. If we're talking about adults is different, but we're talking about minors, people getting those, whatever those puberty blockers and all that kind of crap for minors. I think that's very different than adults getting, those kind of cosmetic surgeries. But if we're talking about minors as well on both sides, then probably, that's kind of, I don't know, debatable.
That we didn't have anything to say about Epstein before the Trump administration. Raskin joins call for Attorney General to reopen Epstein case and publicly release Acosta misconduct investigation in documents March 1, 2019. Oversight Committee plans hearing with Acosta on plea deal with Epstein July 10, 2019. And finally, 68 House members call for resignation of Labor Secretary Acosta, July 10, 2019.
Without objection, Attorney General Bondi, thank you for your service to the country. And thank you for being here for a long day. We appreciate your willingness to come and answer our questions and the great job you're doing
It's too bad we didn't have Senator Kennedy on this committee, bro, because we love Senator Kennedy.
And
oh, ex-chaser, you are with the government of Iran. You're a loser, bro. I knew you were a clown. There you go. You are an absolute monster.
I got one thing I got to say. This concludes today's hearing. We thank our witness.
Dude, I got this retard in my chat on Instagram who says he's with the government of Iran. He's an absolute loser. And
for appearing before the committee without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days to submit additional written questions for the witness or additional materials for the record. Without objection, the hearing is adjourned.
Good. We'll go ahead and call you out, bro, just so everyone knows who you are. Good job. Good job, bro. What a loser, bro. What a loser we just found in my chat. I knew he was. The guy's coming over here talking all this nonsense, and I knew he was he's part of probably the government of the regime of Iran. Trump will get him, bro. You're right. Dan is right, bro. Trump will get him. You better be careful, man. You better be careful, buddy. You better be careful. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and make note of that. I got a screenshot of him. Congratulations, sir. You're a moron. You are a moron, sir. Congratulations. You are the #1 moron of the day. You won the prize, bro. You have won the prize, bro. Went ahead and blocked them, so he's already blocked. Yeah, we don't need no IRGC losers. Yep. All right, we just blocked his ass. And yeah, you missed it. He started talking shit on Instagram. I'm not going to say what he said because I didn't understand it at first because he's a moron. And then I asked him, what's up? He said he's from Iran. And then he said, I'm with the people of Iran and my government. And we all know what that means. I'm with the people of Iran. You're not with the people of Iran. You're with your government and you're acting like you're with the people. The people of Iran have spoken. Okay, guys, that's the end of this live stream for this portion, and I'll probably be back on later today. And that was a good time. Thank you for subscribing. and liking and being, active in the chat and everything. Love you guys. That was awesome. That was a great time. And yeah. Yep. I agree with parents being involved. Yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks again. Thanks for being involved and being active, and I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Have a good day. See you later. Bye.